Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. Need some changes in here, some good reasons for them. Some changes have already been done. A lot of this is the consequence of this massive bit of staging coming in with all the associated plants, plus the massive influx of the Disas which weren't here. So changes so far, I've got all of my Paphiopedilums now on this shelf. There's a couple of Miltonias at the back that are off that back shelf there because that's become very, very difficult to get at. The staging can only move across so far, and getting in the gap and then round there was, and there were only two. Well, there were four, there's only two now. Let's put it that way. This top shelf hasn't changed. I'm happy with what's on there. Like the stuff that needs the most light up that end. I'm happy with what's on this top shelf. And then down the bottom here, not getting probably enough light at the moment, but then they're not growing much anyway, are my bigger Miltonias, sorry. And a couple of other things including my Zygos. So over this side I'm happy. The Cymbidiums have got to stay on this staging. There isn't any other practical place for them to be, so they do have to stay here. Now I've cut the geraniums back, much to some people's annoyance, because obviously that was a nice splash of colour. They've gone on this staging at the moment. That may change, we shall see. It would be better if I could find somewhere else for them, but anyway. Now the bugbear over here, all of the stuff on this top shelf I'm happy with. My Coelogenes live there, all of them, apart from this one that's in flower at the moment. Sorry, I'm whizzing the camera a bit quick. Now this shelf here I sort of cleared off because I need to be able to see the bird feeder from my chair. Yeah, so when I'm working on the laptop, a glance to the right and I can see straight through to the bird feeder. That's why this shelf got cleared off. That's why Hibiki is pushed right up that end, so that I can see through there. This is where I can do a change. I've still got quite a few spares of the wire shelves. So if I put a wire shelf here, Hibiki can come up one, yeah? So it'll be above my line of fire. It will be in the way of the roof of the bird feeder. That's not a big deal. It's the actual table and the feeders hanging down. So that leaves this shelf almost clear. So we'll get in there. If all of my pinguiculas, some of which are, I think, two of which are dead, so they don't need moving. The others hopefully will grow on a bit better next year. They didn't grow that well this year. I think they probably got forgotten and dried out a bit. But if they come right up this end, they're very low pots, they don't get in the way. Hibiki goes up one story. That leaves that shelf basically clear. And my Coelogenes can go there. The taller ones can go where the Hibiki was, so they won't get in the way. The shorter ones won't get in the way anyway, because these will be up here, so they can all come up this end. The pots that have, well, they were just put there when we were doing the floor, because that was the only place that we'd done out of the way. So those pots can go back where they were on that bottom shelf. Now, that top shelf is Derek's plants. The bottom shelf are my cooler, shadier set. So that's Miltoniopsis and the odont type Oncidiums all together. They all get watered together. It makes sense to have them on the same shelf. And they all have similar light requirements and everything, so that's worked well. So if the pots move and the Restrepias move, that shelf can go out. It can come back in when this big staging goes out next year, but for now it goes out. That leaves that big piece of floor space for the big Disa tray. The reason I'm working towards that is that last time I watered the Disas, and I got the tray out. In fact, it was when we did the floor and I got the tray out, the plants were all leaning. So because there's virtually no direct light above them, they were leaning towards the window, so they're growing wrong. They need some light from above. So if that big tray goes on that bit of floor space, that solves the problem for the bulk of the Disas. The smaller Disa tray, I will have to find some shelf space for. Which I will do. I'll sort that out. It's only a small tray. It's not a big deal. The worst came to the worst. I could put those. I was going to say 6 pots, but there's only 5 because one pot did actually die. There's no sign of life there. That was the one that emptied out when the staging collapsed. So those 5 pots could have their own. Oh no, they wouldn't have enough water. I was going to say they could go in these sort of trays, but that wouldn't be deep enough. They need a better depth of water than that. So anyway, so that's the plan for today. I've got to water the Cymbidiums and I've got to water the Phalaenopsis tomorrow. Then I'm up to speed with my watering. All the other pots were done yesterday, and the mounts. I mean, most of the mounts are dendrobiums. They're resting anyway, so they only need a trickle every now and again just to stop them shriveling up. So, you know, most of them have stopped growing now for the year. So yeah, so a bit of shuffling around to do today, and I plan on doing that before I water the Cymbidiums. Cymbidium's watering task is hard work. The pots are heavy, they're clumsy. I have to hold them and pour the water over them. Half the bark comes off the top on some of them where they've pushed up, you know, in the pots. So it is quite a hard task to water the Cymbidiums. Luckily they don't need doing very often because the pots are so big. And obviously the growth has slowed down now. But these Cymbidiums on the top shelf are an ideal situation. You know, they've got the light, they've got everything going for them here. These ones down here, not so much. You know, so it is difficult to find enough space for such large plants, but I've done what I can. And yeah, I think if we shuffle around and get rid of that shelving up the end to get those Disas out from there, we'll be well on the way. And yeah, I need to get these Cymbidiums on this shelf need to get further up this end towards the light, or if possible make a bit more space on this top shelf. Maybe this coelogeny can go somewhere else. I need it to be where I can see it. I mean, these are very attractive blooms. I need to be able to see them. So I think I might try and make some room up here, which is where that pot belongs, up here. I only put it down there to film it and it didn't go back. But there is enough room for it up here. So I think we'll get that back up there. And then at least one of the Cymbidiums on this lower shelf can come up the top and get a lot more light. Maybe even 2. Because even though the leaves might be jumbled up together, forming a bit of a jungle, they're still going to get a lot more light than they will down there, even though down there they might have their own space. There's a lot more light on this top shelf. So yeah, shuffling around time today, and I'll be back when it's all done. And the watering's done. Once I've watered those Cymbidiums, that's it. I need to go and sit down because that is a tiring job. So I'm going to leave that till last and do all the other stuff first. And then that'll be it for the winter, hopefully. No more shuffling around, no more shelf moving. You'd be surprised how much shade this staging creates. But with the Disas moved, this staging can come out. It can come out like quite a way. Well, it can come out to the edge of the door here, which will leave that amount of space this side because it's casting a lot of shade. These Miltonias down here are not getting anywhere near as much light, nor are the Paphiopedilums. Okay, they don't need a lot, but you know. So it's not making too much difference to the top shelf because obviously a lot of the light's coming in from above. And that's the beauty of a place like this that's got a clear top to it, because there's an awful lot of light this time of year comes in from the top. So right, so I'm going to have another cup of coffee and then we'll start moving stuff around. It's not a big job. But as I've got to change the water on the Disas, I thought now's a good time to sort that big tray out, as I've got to lift it out anyway and get the pots out into the other tray. The other tray can go straight back in the gap that I create. So yeah, several jobs in one go. And I'll be back a bit later and we'll have a look at what it's going to look like. It won't look incredibly different, but it will be different for me. Things in different places and that. So I'll be back. Okay, a busy morning, but I'm pleased. Rearranged the Cymbidiums so that all the big ones except one are now on the top shelf. They're reasonably spread out, and as I said, there's an awful lot of light comes in from above. I'm not too worried that some are away from the end window. I mean, you can see there's a lot of light coming down on these plants from above. So the only one that's left down here now is the one that's possibly got the virus. Possibly. So it's been kept separate. It's a bit of a nuisance. I have to leave the watering on that one till last, and then I have to go and sterilise everything, but it has to be done. And blow me, it's got a spike. So having checked these over when I water them, I usually do, 4 out of the 7 have spikes now. Some just starting, so they could, I suppose, in theory, turn into growths. But at this time of year, it's highly unlikely they're going to be spikes. If we wait long enough, we'll see the spikes. There's one, this one in here, where the spikes are quite advanced. So these are pushing on nicely. They may even warrant staking soon, because although I love to see Cymbidiums arch over, they do look so nice like that, I haven't got the room. If you can imagine, that one I've just showed you has got 3 spikes on and they're spread round the plant. Where would they go? How would they arch over? They're going to have to be trained upright. And then they'll all stick up here. We'll be able to see them. We'll see them from next door. Anyway, so that's what I've done. The one that with the possible virus is still down on this shelf. My little showgirl's on this shelf as well, my miniature, but that can go right up against the glass. So the fact that it's got some large plants above it doesn't matter so much. The geraniums have been hacked right back. They're effectively going to be allowed to go virtually dormant for the winter. They're now taking up the space that the Cymbidiums had. Big tray of Disas here. Much more light and a much more even light for them, and the other tray I managed to get on the end of there. Now those shelf bars are not that strong, but that tray's not that heavy. It's only got 6 pots in it and some water, so it's not that heavy. I can pick it up quite easily. So that's that. And we put this new shelf up here. So Hibiki's just moved up one, and I put some of my Restrepias here, and I put the rest there and shuffled my, I chucked 2 of the pots away from the failed pinguiculas, and the ones that look like they may be okay into next year, I've kept those 4. And that gives me my clear view through there to the bird feeder from my chair, which is what I wanted. So that's what I've done. I'm pleased with the results. I'm pleased that the Disas have now got much more light. I'm pleased that the Cymbidium staging is now quite a bit further away from these plants, therefore letting more light into this area. So yeah, busy morning, and some lifting and bending and stuff, but it has to be done sometimes, you know, and if I've got a bit of backache, then so be it. You know, it's part of the job. That's just how it is. So anyway, that's it for today. I shall see you tomorrow for the Sunday chat. Subject as yet to be thought of. You can leave some suggestions if you like. I may take no notice of you, but you never know. You might get half the Sunday chat dedicated to your idea. But if I don't know what your idea is, you won't. So yeah, I'm always open to suggestions. But we will make an effort to do the chat, news and views and all that sort of stuff, what's going on, and then I will probably do a spotlight on the end, because we haven't done one really for a while. So we'll have a look at something either a genus or a specific plant and talk about that plant, care and all that sort of stuff. So again, suggestions if you have any ideas. And that big white Cymbidium that's in bloom, I'd put that, quite honestly, I put that in pride of place. So I can see that from practically everywhere in the lounge here. So there we go, that's what I've been up to. And yeah, spreading those Cymbidiums out and giving them a good look over to check for spikes and everything. I'm pleased with the results. 4 in spike out of 7. I've got 8, but 1 lives in the garden because that, well, that has got a virus. Don't think that one's open to debate. I haven't actually checked it to see if it's got any buds, but because I mean last year, although it had the virus, it did push up 2 spikes. One of them aborted, but we did get flowers on it. But it was ever so difficult trying to keep it separate in here. As I said, this one down the bottom here is dubious. I'm not sure, but the one in the garden definitely. And it's Hannah's, you know, friend that gave it to Hannah. She gave it to me to look after, and we both agreed. Well, Hannah agreed that the best place for it is in the garden. It either survives or it doesn't. Now, my friend that is quite a Cymbidium expert and grows some excellent plants offered to take Hannah's plant and look after it and make it better. And I'm thinking of taking him up on it, but I do have a reservation. How would I feel if my plant introduced the mosaic virus into his stunning collection of Cymbidiums and Oncidiums? He has lots of Oncidiums and odont types. How would I feel if my plant caused that? So although it sounds like a good idea to give a plant to an expert to see if they can recover it, on reflection, I think it would be too dodgy. So I think it better stay. It's best if it stays in the garden where it is. And we'll see if it survives the winter. It doesn't get much rain on it. It's relatively sheltered, but it does get a bit through the cracks in the table. So it won't dry out completely or anything like that. It may get frozen solid, but so be it. And I'll see you tomorrow for the Sunday chat on whatever we decide. Bye for now. And the bit on the end. I knew there was something in the back of my mind. I knew there was something else I was going to say. As I have now got 4 Cymbidiums in bud, from now on when I water them, we will have to mix up 2 types of feed. If you remember, I said I got the bloom type fertilizer, the low nitrogen, yeah, and I said that we'll use it on the Cymbidiums to see the effect it has specifically on that genus. The idea is it should make the spikes more compact, not so straggly, with brighter colours, you know, more intensity to the colours and everything, and larger blooms. That's the theory. There's only one way to find out if the theory is actually true, and that's try it out. So next time round when we water, anything that's got spikes starting will get the bloom fertilizer, and everything else will still get the grow. Yeah, and we'll see what happens. It will be interesting. And if after all the faffing around I can't see any difference, then we won't be doing it again. But there's only one way to find out. So we'll give that a go from next time round.